Welcome to the Humanergy Leadership Podcast. My name is David Wheatley. We're here to talk leadership in small, bite-sized and practical chunks. Enjoy.
Welcome to this episode of the Humanergy Leadership Podcast. I'm going to cover something I've covered in one of the shorter videos that's on the Humanergy YouTube site, maybe a few years ago, especially when we were just hitting the pandemic. And this is a calibration tool that we call CIMA. That's C-I-M-A. And the challenge with CIMA is that many people, when a situation hits, something becomes tense or more challenging, they get uncalibrated. And they get uncalibrated around things because they try to control things that they don't have control over. So over-controlling, we can sometimes call them control freaks. Or sometimes they fall into the habit of accepting things that they maybe can do something about. And they sound like victims. So woe is me type folks. CIMA is about making sure we've got the right thing in the right bucket. So are we controlling what we have control over, which is usually our behavior and attitude and our approach? The second letter, the I, is for influence. Are we influencing where we have influence? Because if we potentially have some great relationships, we might be able to influence something around this action, this situation that makes it better for everybody. But we can only do that if we're calibrated and we're thinking, I'm controlling what I can control and I know where I have influence. The third step is mitigate or manage for. So this is one of those things. I don't have control. I don't have influence, but can I do something to mitigate the impact of this in the long term? Quite often, the simple example is you don't have control over the weather. You don't have influence over the weather. Although if you do, please give me a call. But you can mitigate the impact of the weather by wearing different clothes or taking an umbrella, taking a backpack with some extra jackets in. And then the final letter is accept. So there are some things that we don't have control over, we can't influence, there's nothing we can do to mitigate the impact, and we just have to accept it. But the first thought is, can we do anything in the first three buckets in order to minimize what's in the accept bucket? Being calibrated is when we know we've got the right thing in the right bucket, and then we're actually useful to the people around us because of that calibration. So that's CIMA.
That was the Humanergy Leadership Podcast. My name's David Wheatley. For further information about Humanergy, go to humanergy.com or check out our latest book, What Great Teams Do Great, from all good bookstores. Have a good one. Stay healthy.